Hello, and welcome to the latest installment of the Aras Innovator Demo Series. We're going to talk this morning about program management. A quick note about the demo series: it runs for 30 minutes and features all demo with no sales pitch. Twice a month, typically bi-weekly, we show you a different capability of the Aras platform. Once the demo series is complete, you can always go to our website, www.aras.com/demo series, to view the past demo as well as any upcoming demos. We have on the line today Crystal Brandel, Product Manager. Crystal, take it away.
Thanks, Nicole. Hey everyone, and thank you for joining me today as I demonstrate program management. The goal today is to introduce you to the program management application. All of our standards and features for program management are based on the Project Management Institute Book of Knowledge. And as a reminder, a project is defined as a temporary endeavor to achieve a unique solution. A few things to keep in mind throughout the demo: program management is designed for project execution and not for project planning. Also, program management is heavily integrated, and so all deliverables and work are linked to your other data in Aras Innovator. So today I'm going to walk you through an existing project, then we're going to create a new project using a template, schedule that project, complete a project activity assignment, view a project time report, create a new template, and link projects in the program application. Today I'm using the 11.0 SP12 demo environment and the program management 11.0 R1 release. The R1 release is the standard out-of-the-box solution for all 11.0 releases. Okay, so currently I am logged in as Terry Adams, my project manager, and in the portfolio tab, we're gonna see programs and projects. And so this is where the program management application lives. So let's start with projects. Immediately, we see a list of all existing projects with the ability to search for a specific project in the blue bar, or we can view high-level details of all projects. So first, let's start out by reviewing the columns. So first we have a project number, which is auto-generated, the name you've given the project, the scheduled start, and the scheduled due date. Now this is a calculated date. The status of the project, so it could be active, canceled, pending. This is all going to be the life cycle states. Then we see up to 12 phases in the projects. And I want to briefly cover what these colors mean in the status. So status is visually displayed using green, yellow, and red colors. It's very visible to see what activities need attention and see the overall health of the project timeline. So green here indicates that the finish date of the activity, or all the activities in the phases, is more than 6 days away. The yellow is going to indicate that the finish date of the activity is less than 6 days away, but no more than 1 day away. So it's something that might need attention. And then the red status is going to indicate the finish date of the activity is either today or earlier. So it's something that draws out very visually that there's something that needs attention in those projects. Moving on, we see project manager. Now, the projects are permissions driven, and so currently only the project manager can lock and edit the project in the standard out-of-the-box solution. Now remember, this is configurable, but we put high emphasis that the project manager can only update their projects, or of course the admins. So here, only Terry Adams on this project can save changes and update the schedule of his project. So I only have the authority to change this as Terry Adams. I do not have the authority as to update this project because it's Mike Miller's. And then here we see the template that the project's derived from, any comments associated, and then we have scheduling mode and project update mode. And so let me briefly just talk about scheduling mode and update mode. Here we have it scheduled as interactive only, and so we've selected for Terry to only update the project when he chooses to. And so if we select that we want to activate the project or schedule the project, then we will manually do so because of the scheduling mode chosen. We can also, and I'll show this as we go into the projects, this can also trigger on events like unlocking a project or when an activity is completed. And so there's many different options for how the projects are scheduled or updated. It's based on your company's best practices or your preferences, but we like to set interactive only here because we want the project manager to have control of when the activities and the updates happen, when they go out to the in-basket. Okay, so now that we've reviewed at a high level the different project properties, let's go into a project. So here I'm going to go into 1922 printer modification. Now this is an example of an active project that is already scheduled. On top is the project form. We see most of the same fields and properties that are on the search page. So remember, as we go through, again, all these are customizable and flexible to your company needs. So you can actually change this form if you'd like. This is our out of the box. So up at the project form, we see all the properties from the search grid, like number, name, and phases. But additionally, we see something we haven't seen before, and this has to do with the scheduling, the target start and the target finish. This is when we think we are going to start and end. So when I created this project as Terry Adams, I wanted to start on the 9th of January and I wanted to finish on the 7th of February. I selected forward scheduling type, so it's going to start with January 9th, assuming that is when I want to start the project. And based on my project components down here, it's going to override the target finish and actually schedule the finish based on what my actual activities are. So scheduled start, we see it's still the 9th, and the scheduled finish based on the project plan is the 2nd of April. And so this target finish I can see is going to be way off. It's going to be a couple months off. Now you can also change the scheduling type if you change your mind, and you can reschedule the project by selecting the schedule type backward. And now what that'll do is it'll ensure that the target finish is honored, and the target finish will become the scheduled finish. And then the scheduled start will be based on backwards calculation from the project plan. Okay, so then we also have scheduling mode that I briefly discussed in the last page. And we have interactive only, interactive and unlock, activity completeness, or activity updates. So when Mike Miller, for example, completes this activity, then on activity completeness, it will auto update the schedule. Or I can have on activity updates, so whenever anyone inputs any data, I can reschedule the project. So remember that these dates are all calculated based on the business calendars that your administrator sets up, and so holidays and weekends are skipped as defined in your calendars. So remember, data integration, we're using the calendars that you've already set up in Aras Innovator, and we're honoring that calendar and scheduling based against it. Okay, so I've expanded the project plan already, so you can see all of the different project components below. So let's start by reviewing these columns. So first we have the project tree is going to be all of the phases, the WBS elements, the activities, and the milestones. The red here that you see across indicates the critical path. Now, in the project plan, the critical path is calculated and highlighted in red when the project is saved. Additional information on the critical path calculation is also available in our help section. So I'll navigate to help, just ask Innovator, I will search for critical path. And when I select critical path method, you see the explanation of the calculation. And just a reminder, this is based on the PMI's Book of Knowledge. Okay, next we have predecessor. And so this activity is going to be dependent on this activity because we've defined the predecessor for it. We have status. And now status is in a way a roll-up. And so each activity has its own status, which then rolls up into the status of the phase, which is also viewable at the top of the form as well as in the search for all projects. And then the overall project has its own status. Now, since we're running late on some of these activities, the overall project is running behind. Okay, and the numbers inside are going to indicate the percent of complete on each of those individual activities or phases or the complete project. So we're 18% complete on the project. Okay, next we have leader and we have lead role. Now, our template already had the lead role filled out for each of these activities. So the process was defined for market research, design, was defined as the lead role for specification development. Now, when I go into team, here is where I can assign those actual resources to those roles. And I'll show this when I create a new project, the steps of how to do it. And so when this project is saved or any update is made to the teams, this will auto-populate based on that relationship tab. Then again, we have the plan start and the plan finish. This is going to be a calculated date based on the duration of days that you've established for that activity. And so, for example, this activity we've set to 5 days, and so it's scheduled it based on the scheduling plan as well as how many days it will take. And then we can also attach deliverables to specific activities or milestones as well. Now, we also have the option to attach deliverables to the overall project, and that is seen in this relationship tab. And we can also relate parts back to the project as well. And similarly, now we can add parts as attachments to the activities too. So all your data is linked. Okay, so now let's view the Gantt chart. So I go into View Gantt Chart, or I can click on this icon, and here I see all of the different schedules. So let's actually go into where this is. So this is a pop out of the Gantt chart to show you a bigger view because this is a bigger project. And here we have all the same details that we're going to see in our project plan, as well as an overview of the Gantt chart. And we can customize this based on if we want to see the activities that are linked, the predecessors, the actual completeness within the activity. So it's customizable based on how you want to view your Gantt chart, how large your project plan is. From this window, we can also print the Gantt chart and the project plan, which is very helpful for folks like me that still like to see things on paper sometimes. Okay, and then also I briefly, I selected this before. I want to show you that you can also see more details on the activities here as well. Or I can click in and I can view the activity. And this is going to be the same activity that's going to show up in the in basket, but now as a project manager, I can view the details behind this activity after it's been completed. So I see my status, it's been completed, all the dates that are calculated or presumed ahead of time. I can see any records that belong to this activity that the leader assigned or filled out themselves. Any deliverables attached, things like that. Okay, so lastly, before I go ahead and create a new project, I want to show you that all projects have a life cycle. I briefly chatted about it earlier. And so if you select Views Life Cycle, you can see that right now we're in active and we can cancel or close the project. Okay, so now that we understand the final project product, let's create a new project with a template. Okay, so I'm going to go back. Let me unlock this. And I'm going to create a new project. I'm going to say PM Demo. I'm going to start the project today. I'm going to use a template, and I'm going to select the simplified template, and I'm going to use forward scheduling, and I'm going to create this project. So immediately it's going to open so I can define more details. Since I'm using a template, all of these details are pulled in for me. So this should look familiar because the template was used on the last project we viewed. Let's go ahead now and I will show you how to assign some roles and how that shows up into the project plan. So first, let's create design. Let's create process, and then I'm going to create a manager for the sake of time. Okay, so for design, I'm going to put Mike Miller. I am going to do the same for process, just so you can see his in basket. And now for manager, I'm going to put my project manager, I'm going to put Terry in there. So I'm going to put myself. Okay, so now let's go into the project plan. Now notice that the plan start, plan finish are not created yet. Our scheduled start and scheduled finish have not been calculated yet. And our leader position, our resources have not been put in yet. So I'm going to save this project, and when I do, the critical path is going to calculate, and all of those dates and roles are going to be assigned. There you go. So now we're looking like the last project, right? But the only difference is now this is still an inactive project. We haven't scheduled it yet. So let's go ahead and do that so we can see what those activities look like that are going out. So I'm going to first unlock. I'm going to promote to active. And then because of my scheduling mode and my project update mode are interactive, I'm going to need to select these manually up in actions. Now there was no update because it's a new project. And then schedule the project. Upon scheduling, we're going to see that status change. Now remember that we started the project today, and so our status color is yellow, because we have a day to start this activity, okay? Remember, this is less than 6 days and no more than 1 day. So right away, we see the overall status. We can go into search, and we're gonna see that this is live updated for us. Okay, so now that we have the new project created, let's go ahead and log in as Mike Miller, and let's see that market research task that just got assigned to him. So let me go in as Mike Miller. Let me make sure my changes are saved first. Okay. So I'm going to go into Mike Miller's in basket. We are going to see all of his activities across of Innovator that are set to active, because that's the default. And now we're going to see this market research task just got assigned to him. Okay, so let's right hand click on it, select complete task. You can also double click. It's going to open up this window. Now as Mike Miller, the resource, I can add my work. So in the activity completion form, we have general information about the project that we've already seen. And so now as Mike, I'm going to go ahead and create a time record for myself. I'm going to say I did this today. I actually completed today, even though the project plan said 5 days. For the sake of today, we're just going to say it's completed. And I'm going to say my actual start. Now it's indicated in red because this is a mandatory field. When I start the project, I have to select this. And my percent complete, just for the sake of today, I'm going to say 100. Now, when I save and close this, you're going to see that this task is going to delete from my in basket because it's done. And now Mike Miller no longer needs to see this activity. So I'm going to save, unlock, and close, and away it goes. Okay, so now let's log in as Terry Adams, the project manager, and we're going to see what it looks like from his end when someone completes an assignment. So I'm going to go into Portfolio, Projects. I'm going to revisit my project. I'm going to update the project now because remember, my project update mode is interactive. And now see how that status changed to green? That's because it went out when I told it to, collected the latest information, and made that update. Now, you can have that happen automatically, but remember, some folks like to go ahead and do that themselves for control. Okay, so now also an important thing is reporting, right? So as Terry, I want to see a report of my hours based on the work week. And so I can go ahead, now I'm in the project that I'm interested in, go into Report, Project Time Report, and now I'm going to see all of my resources that are scheduled by week. So I see Mike Miller for Market Research Task this week is supposed to be assigned for 16 hours. And next week for 24 hours. So this gives me an overview of my resource loading. Okay, so it's important to also note that we have complex reporting available through community solutions that are listed on aras.com. And also there you'll see the community solution to import projects from Microsoft projects. So that's a big one for folks. Okay, so now the project we just created, this has a great structure and we want to replicate it going forward for other teams or other project managers. So let's use this project to create a template. So I'm going to select the project, right click, and select Create Project Template. Now we can modify the project before saving it. So I'll say PM Demo Template. And now this template will not be an active template to use until it is actually promoted in the life cycle to active. So I'm going to save here. I'm not going to promote it, and I want to show you that this doesn't show up. So in projects, I'm going to create a new project, and now that did not show up in my templates. However, I can go ahead and promote it to approved. And now this template is going to immediately be active for folks to use, PM Demo Template. Okay, so now that we've activated that template, you can also create a template from scratch. And so let me do that for you so you can get an idea of how easy it is to create templates if you don't already have a project that you like, the project structure. So under templates, we have project templates. Here we're going to create a new, and I'm going to say project template demo 2. Okay, now the very first element, which is a given for you, is going to be the name of the project. And now I can select to add phases. So I can say phase 1. I can add an activity to this phase. I can say first we need to scope it out. I can say then we're going to do some research. And how about a milestone? And then we need sign off. Okay, so now that I have a good structure, I can, for example, create the next set by using some of these tools up here. Now this is available on all of the project and template pages. So say I want to copy this set of activities and milestones. So I can go up here and copy. I can select this phase. I can paste it in. So there we go. I can rename it. Now maybe I want to do research before scope. Doesn't make sense, but for the sake of the argument, let's move it up. Let's delete scope out because I don't like it there anymore. You saw before you can change the indents, and so you can stack the different phases any way that you see fit based on what your practices are. Now that we've created a new one, let's save. And remember, it's not going to show up until we approve it. And so let's go and let's unlock. Let's promote it. And now this template, when I go back into projects and create a new project, now I can use that template I just created. I can say today, and there it is. Okay, so now that I've shown you how to create new projects, create new templates, the very last thing I'm going to demonstrate today is programs. So let's go back and click on Programs. Programs is the application used to link multiple projects together. And then you can link them to a customer. Remember, this is all customizable, so out of the box, we have a very simple form. Here's our customer, our name of our program, description. And now we see that that project that we first viewed when the demonstration started is listed under this program. So we can double click and enter the project this way as well. Now say we didn't know that this project was associated to a program. You can always use that tool where used when you're in the project page and see that it's linked to the program here. Okay, so let me go back into this. So here it's we have the project, all the details. You can see very high level. It's not as detailed as the project search page, and that's for a reason. Here you just want to get an overview of what's going on with the projects. Okay, so now the very last thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to add a project to a program. So let's lock this. Let's pick related because it already existed. We can also create projects from here. And I'm going to pick my PM demo and add it in. And it is as easy as that. So we can save, unlock, and we see that now this project is associated to this program. And we can do that same where used. And see that relationship. Okay, so that wraps it up for the live demo today. Just as an overview today, I showed you how to create a new project using a template, complete a project activity, view a project time report, create a new template, how to link projects to a program. We also discussed that permissions and community solutions are available based on your company's business practices. And so we have a lot of great things that others have developed that are on our aras.com website. We covered SP12 out-of-the-box program management based on PMI's Book of Knowledge. And lastly, I want to emphasize again, the product is extremely flexible and can fit whatever your business needs are. And so thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Crystal. Make sure to enter in any questions you may have into the Q&A panel after seeing that demonstration. I see a bunch of questions coming in now, so let's get to a few. I know we're at time, so we'll only answer a few of those and we'll get back to you on the rest. Crystal, can the project number be changed from auto-assigned to determined by user?
Yes, that is configurable. We just like document number, any number can be updated, but the admin has to do that, has to reconfigure that.
Okay. Can you export the Gantt chart or project plan to Excel or MS Project?
Yes, you can. Yep. So we have in those same tools that I showed. Let me briefly cover that because that is very important. You can export to Excel or Word.
Okay, perfect. Can you link the project element to the resources needed to complete the project activity?
Yeah, they're all linked. So if I understand the question correctly, the resources, the deliverables, the parts, everything is linked back into that activity that maps everything together. And so there is a way, if I wanted to just go into a part or a deliverable, I can also see in where used the activity, which it derives from. Everything is heavily connected, and so you can get to it in one way or another.
Okay, part 2. Can you link the project activity to what is produced by the activity? Example, the part of design information or document that is produced.
Yes, so when you're actually in the activity, let's see if Terry Adams has an activity. So I'll go to My Innovator, My In-Basket. So here, right, the deliverable might not come from the project. It might come from the person who's completing that activity. And so here they have the option to either add an existing deliverable that they've created outside of the activity, or they can create a new deliverable from here as well. And so we have document, part, so it just depends on your business practices. We support, whichever way you'd like to handle that.
All right. We're going to take one last question. I see a bunch are here, and we'll get back to you on those. This last question, can a company create its own unique template or numerous templates based on the product being developed?
Well, absolutely, right? So you can create a template based on anything. And so it's all a matter of if you already have an existing project around that product, or if you want to create a new template, you can do that there as well and link it back to that unique product. You can assign that template then for new product creation, or you can assign it to different teams, things like that. And so it's very flexible.
All right. Thank you for your questions. I apologize for any that we didn't get to today. I'm going to leave you with what is upcoming. On May 3rd, we'll be going over MRO. And then on May 24th, we'll be discussing effectivity. Again, you can register for upcoming webinars and view any past webinars at www.aras.com/demo series. We would love for you to all join the Open Aras PLM community. We've got blogs, knowledge bases with a lot of good information, forums, community projects for you to access and contribute to when ready. Be sure to follow Aras on social. You can find us on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook, where we're looking to share with the community industry-related news and articles, latest information on Aras news, product assets, and more. With that, we thank you for joining us today and look forward to having you on next time. Thank you and have a good day.